Hello, welcome to another edition of Crop Life Retail Week. I'm Eric Sfiligoj, editor, Crop Life and Crop Life Iron, here again with Laura Sowinski. Laura, how you doing today?
Really well, thank you. I noticed we're both wearing gray. Is that the
Well,
the color
actually, this is more of a blue, but it's a
green?
denim blue. But yeah, I guess given that it's snowing in Ohio today as we record this, and it's like actually past the first day of spring. The gray skies are dominating outside. So I guess if we were
Yes,
wearing gray or dark blue, then it would fit. So
yeah, same here in El Paso. It's down to lower 60s, windy with the wind chill factor. We're well down into the 50s. So
oh man, you're
yeah.
suffering. You're suffering mightily. Yes, I think our high tomorrow is supposed to be a grand 37. So you get no sympathy from me.
Yeah, I guess not.
that that temperature here this time of year, I would be celebrating. I'd be in a tank top with flip flops and shorts, but that's all right. You've got on a sweater, so it's okay. Perspective, I understand completely.
Yep.
So, hey, listen, got some news to share with our viewers this week. I guess this would be under. I got two stories, and they're both sort of on the acquisition side of things.
Mhm.
One involves a product or offering, and the other involves a company. So, I will start with the product offering first. Our friends at Everag, the former EFC Systems, made an acquisition recently. They've acquired the Adapt N product from Yara North America. Now, Adapt N is a in-season nitrogen recommendation tool. So, and according to Kyle Owen, the VP of Digital Agronomy at Everag, he said by incorporating Adapt N into Field Analytics, which is the Everag system, we're equipping ag retailers with a powerful tool to help farmers fine-tune their nitrogen application. So again, that acquisition just went down. We found out about it last week, and again, like I say, our friends at Everag are expanding their product offerings with field analytics for the marketplace.
Awesome. Yeah, I saw that too. Great news. What else you got?
Yeah. Well, what else I got? More on the company acquisition side. Of course, folks who have attended our Tech Hub Live event, and I guess that's a little shameless plug, over the past couple of years probably have noted that one of the companies there more prominently featured has been Pro Agrica,
Mhm.
which was actually owned by a British, an English based, publicly traded company called Relax, which was an information based company.
Mhm.
They've actually now been acquired. As of March 1st, they are now part of TELUS, which is a Canadian telecommunications company, which is
Mhm.
another company. And so I'm sure folks who've attended Tech Hub Live or other ag tech events have probably run across. But yes, that acquisition went down on March 1st. So now Pro Agrica is a part of the TELUS family.
Yeah, I saw that. Very interesting. I am familiar with TELUS from my prior days in the supply chain space. So yeah, that one caught my eye as well. A lot of interesting developments in our space recently. So that was cool. Good news. Good two news items there. Like it.
Yeah, and as I said, folks who are regular attendees at Tech Hub Live, which will be taking place the end of July in Des Moines, Iowa. Pro Agrica has been a regular exhibitor. TELUS has usually attended the event as well. I can't remember if they're exhibitor, but I suspect they will now have a larger presence, being a combined entity on the show floor there in Des Moines. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In fact, I'm eager to kind of talk to our friends at Pro Agrica and maybe get a little bit of insight into um, that tie up and see what's behind it. But yeah, good news.
yes, so I guess, and that covers what I have to share with viewers. And I know when we talked before we got on the air that you said you had a couple of items to share as well. So I will cede the floor to you, my dear.
Why, thank you. Yeah, actually, a really important news item and good news, thankfully, for once, from me. Um, the Ukrainian grain exports seem to be back on track. The port of Odessa is once again kind of up and running. The Ukraine has uh, sent drones out and have sunk a series of Russian warships, according to the Wall Street Journal. And so the reclaiming of dominance in the large ports of the Black Sea has allowed Ukraine, which is usually in the top five of grain exporters globally, to ramp up their grain exports to just about where they were prior to the war. So that was really, really good news. Wanted to make sure we shared that.
Well,
Um,
before you move on, I know that I've looked at the Ukraine grain situation several times over the past few years, since the Russian conflict began, and I know they were pretty prevalent in corn and wheat. So you're saying I think it was like 17% of the world's corn and 10% of the world's wheat was Ukrainian. So you're saying that, like you say, back before the war levels, so we're back at those levels now, correct? Is that what the article
um,
saying?
that's what it looks like. Looking at both reporting from the Wall Street Journal as well as Reuters, that they're close to pre-war levels. Just strictly on a food security front, this is good news. I know a lot of the exports went to Europe, but to Africa as well. So happy to see that they're kind of online again, as it were.
Huh. Well, that
Yep.
is great news. Yeah. So
Yep.
hey, thank you for sharing some good news. What else you got?
Well, this is where those dark clouds gather,
Oh,
but
Laura, come
uh,
on. You had a chance for two happy stories in a row. Come on.
try as I might. Well, I did want to, always kind of looking at supply chain and trade and, what's up, particularly with U.S. exports. So the USDA is reporting that for fiscal 2023, U.S. ag exports reached 178.7 billion. A
Mm,
high number, nonetheless. It was 17 billion lower than the high that we saw in 2022, which was 196 um, billion. So projections for 24 actually are down even a little bit more. So what's kind of behind it was kind of poking around, and we looked at USDA stats from 2013 through 23. Ag exports actually were up 2.1% compounded annual growth rate, which is good. However, ag imports in the U.S. Were up 5.8%. So the strong U.S. dollar was kind of behind that. The big jump in U.S. ag imports, as well as consumer preferences for fresh fruits and vegetables year round. So we have another item that was part of this news story. So North Dakota and South Dakota saw a 25% decrease in their corn and soybean exports for 23. So that contributed significantly to that drop. So um, U.S. Senator Kevin Cramer from North Dakota, Senator John Thune from South Dakota reached out via a letter corresponding to USDA Ag Secretary Vilsack, U.S. Trade Rep Catherine Tai, wanting to kind of address this sizable drop. Um, and it kind of reminded me, as you know, I've been traveling around talking to some of our crop protection folks the last month or so, and Bob Tragel from AMVAC was mentioning a lot about the recession in China and how that was dragging down, the impact on U.S. exports as well as the crop protection sector. And we were talking about, while the U.S. has essentially enjoyed, along with the other world economies, kind of a free trade and globalization and so forth, that, in the last couple, 3, 4 years, we've seen kind of a de-globalization, as
mhm.
Bob coined it. Um, and I'm just wondering because the senators are asking, kind of to uh, work more on free trade agreements, open up new markets for U.S. ag goods, and it's like kind of a curious thing right now because I never thought we would see kind of the opposite. It just seemed like a proliferation, more free trade, opening up new markets, but countries are kind of being more protectionist these days. So um, clearly having an impact on ag exports from the U.S. So we'll see what happens.
Well, it'll be interesting because I know not quite along what your story was saying, but I did run across an item this week. I didn't report on it, but it was talking about Brazil in particular,
Oh,
and was saying that the early projections is that the Brazilian soybean harvest was going to be down
mm-hmm,
from 2023, so that they were anticipating there would be less soybean coming out of Brazil than was anticipated originally. So
mm-hmm.
again, folks around the world are going to need soybean, so maybe the U.S. soybean exports will actually do better than anticipated in 2024. Again, it's a story we'll be following throughout the year as we get some more
Yeah,
hard numbers as we
yeah,
go into the fall season. So
yeah. So that's where we're at. Never a dull moment in foreign trade or agriculture.
no, no, never a dull moment. And speaking of never dull moments, time for your favorite segment of the show, which is never dull, I'm sure. It is time for fun with numbers.
Okay. All right.
All right, I got a tricky number for you this week, and it's a range. So get ready to write this one down because you're going to probably need to reference it.
Okay.
So your numbers this week are 2.8 to 4.7, and the qualifier on this is these are acre feet.
I'm already.
So
I'm already.
2.8 to 4.7 acre feet.
Okay.
All right. So now here are your options. You'll have to write down one word because that's all that's different from your question, your answers on this one.
Okay.
So it was 2.8 to 4.7 acre feet. Is that A, the average amount of water used for agriculture in the western states? Is it B, the average amount of water used for agriculture in the Midwestern states? Is it C, the average amount of water used for agriculture in the South? Or is it D, the average amount of water used by my son when he showers each morning? Now, just for some reference, 1 acre feet of water, I'm told, will supply 2 to 3 households worth of water for 1 year's time. So,
Um, I'm
and my
feeling.
son has long hair, so he does use a lot of water. I'll say that.
I'm really thinking it's A.
You are correct, ma'am. Yes, A is indeed the answer. And again, as we've talked about, droughts in the western states have been very prevalent, so they do have to use a lot of water.
Mhm.
2.8 to 4.7 acre feet is the average. Any guess what state might be number one on the list?
California.
Yes, California was number one on the list.
All
Other
right.
western states that ranked high were Arizona at number 4, Idaho at number 5, and Nevada at number 10. Like I say, average 2.8 to 4.7 acre feet per acre of farmland being used.
Mhm.
The Midwest was actually the lowest. The lowest state for water usage was West Virginia, followed by Virginia and my home state of Ohio.
Oh.
Just a little over 1 acre, 1 acre foot worth of water there in those states. And in the South, if you're wondering, they were bigger on irrigation in states like Arkansas and Mississippi and Missouri.
Mm.
About 83% of the acreage there is irrigated.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that, yeah, and the report mentioned the fact that this was from our friends at, let me get the name here. This was from lawnstarter.com. They sent out this report
Okay.
on farmland water usage. So, yes.
Huh. Well,
So
if
you did get the correct answer. It is the western states that use the most. So,
I did, and well, you finally got something a little bit that I should know about, which I'm thankful for. But If I'm not mistaken, I think March 22nd is like World Water Day or something like that. So
You may be correct. So we may be just past this as this video is airing. So, but I hope everyone enjoyed their water day. So, well, hey, before we go, one other thing. Some folks of our viewers might have received in their email inboxes recently a little request from us here at Crop Life. Every year for the past 2 decades, 20 years or so, we've worked with our friends at Purdue University to put together a report on precision agricultural adoption going on in the marketplace, ag tech.
mhm.
And that went out, and the deadline for that survey to be sent back to us is the end of the month, March 30th or 31st, I believe. So if you have not already filled out the survey, if you could please help us out. We're looking for as much input as we possibly can get so that we can put together as comprehensive a story as possible that will appear in July on croplife.com and in the various publications that CropLife has. So,
Yeah, no, I'm glad you mentioned that. As folks that attend Tech Hub Live know, Bruce Erickson from Purdue gives a recap and highlights of that. And that's an excellent survey. The feedback and the insights are wonderful. So, yeah, please do take your time to fill that out. We really, really rely a lot on the results of that. So, yeah, awesome. Glad you mentioned it.
yes. So, yeah, we'll thank everyone in advance for listening to us and filling in surveys. And when we get 1,000 of them in after the video airs, we will be very, very happy. So.
Yay.
All right. Well, that does it for this edition of Crop Life Retail Week. On behalf of myself, Eric Sfiligoj, Lara Sowinski, and everyone with the Crop Life Media Group, thanks for joining us. We'll see you again soon. If you have questions or comments about today's episode of Retail Week, contact us by email or Twitter, or type your message in the comment section below. Your feedback is important to us. We will try our best to address your thoughts in next week's episode, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.